Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to discuss the polity questions asked in prelims 2015. Please pause after the question to guess the right answer. Question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding the directive principles of state policy. Statement 1. The principles spell out the socio-economic democracy in the country. Statement 2. The provisions contained in these principles are not enforceable by any court. Which of the statements given below are correct? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 2 only. Option C, both 1 and 2. Option D, neither 1 nor 2. Answer is C, both 1 and 2. Socio-economic democracy is spelled out because it provides for the idea of a welfare state. Directive principles of state policy is not enforceable by courts. Only fundamental rights can be enforced by the courts. Question number 2. Consider the following statements. 1. The Rajya Sabha has no power either to reject or to amend a money bill. 2. The Rajya Sabha cannot vote on the demands for grants. Statement 3. The Rajya Sabha cannot discuss the annual financial statement. Which of the statements given above is or correct? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 1 and 2 only. Option C, 2 and 3 only. Option D, 1, 2 and 3. Answer is B, 1 and 2 only. Rajya Sabha can only keep a money bill for not more than 14 days. Within those 14 days, the bill should either return to Lok Sabha with recommendations or passed by the Rajya Sabha. In case of a disagreement between both the houses, the bill is deemed to be passed in the form it was passed by Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha cannot reject or amend a money bill. According to Article 112, President causes the annual financial statement to be put before both the houses of the Parliament. So, it means Rajya Sabha can discuss the annual financial statement. Voting on demands for grants is prerogative of the Lok Sabha. Only the Lok Sabha can vote on the demand for grants. Now, question number 3. The Government of India Act of 1919 clearly defined Option A, the separation of power between the judiciary and the legislature. Option B, the jurisdiction of the central and provincial governments. Option C, the powers of the Secretary of State for India and the Viceroy. Option D, none of the above. Answer is B, the jurisdiction of the central and provincial governments. Government of India Act 1919 relaxed the central control over the provisions by demarcating and separating the central and provincial subjects. The central and provincial legislators were authorized to make laws on the respective list of subjects. However, the structure of government continued to be centralized and unitary. It further divided the provincial subjects into two parts, transferred and reserved, which is what we know as hierarchy. Question number 4. When a bill is referred to a joint sitting of both the houses of the Parliament, it has to be passed by Option A simple majority of members present and voting. Option B, 3/4 majority of members present and voting. Option C, 2/3 of majority of the House. Option D, absolute majority of the House. Answer is Option A, simple majority of members present and voting. Joint sitting is summoned by the President to settle a deadlock between the two houses on a bill. The bill is passed by a simple majority, that is, majority of the number of members present and voting. Question number 5. The Government of India has established Niti Aayog to replace the Option A, Human Rights Commission. Option B, Finance Commission. Option C, Law Commission. Option D, Planning Commission. Answer is Option D, Planning Commission. Question number 6. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. The executive power of the Union of India is vested in the Prime Minister. Statement 2. The Prime Minister is the ex officio chairman of the Civil Services Board. Which of the statements given above is or correct? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 2 only. Option C, both 1 and 2. Option D, neither 1 nor 2. Answer is option D, neither 1 nor 2. Executive power of the Union is vested in the President, and the chairman of Civil Services Board is the Cabinet Secretary. Cabinet Secretary is the ex officio head of the Civil Services Board, the Cabinet Secretariat, the Indian Administrative Service, and head of all civil services under the rules of business of the Government of India. Now, coming to the question number 7. The provisions in the 5th schedule and 6th schedule in the Constitution of India are made in order to: option A, to protect the interests of scheduled tribes; option B, to determine the boundaries between states; option C, to determine the powers, authorities, and responsibilities of panchayats; option D, protect the interests of all the border states. Answer is option A, to protect the interests of scheduled tribes. Option C is incorrect because it excludes the 5th and 6th schedule areas from the application of the Panchayati Raj system. This is to ensure that the local tribal practices, customs, religious laws, social and political institutions are not tampered with. Instead, the act known as PESA 1996 extends the Panchayati Raj system to the tribal areas. Question number 8. With reference to the union government, consider the following statements. Statement 1. The Department of Revenue is responsible for the preparation of union budget that is presented to the Parliament. Statement 2. That no amount can be withdrawn from the Consolidated Fund of India without the authorization of Parliament of India. Statement 3. All the disbursements made from public account also need the authorization from the Parliament of India. Which of the following statements given above is or correct? Option A, 1 and 2 only. Option B, 2 and 3 only. Option C, 2 only. Option D, 1, 2 and 3. Answer is C, option 2 only. The Constitution establishes 3 types of funds: Consolidated Fund of India, Public Account, Contingency Fund. Prior authorization is required for withdrawing from Consolidated Fund of India. For Contingency Fund of India, withdrawal can be authorized by the Parliament afterwards too. For public account, no such authorization is needed. Assessing the revenues from different central taxes is the primary function of the Department of Revenue, and the expenditure estimates for the current and the next year for various expenditure heads are assessed by the Department of Expenditure. The Department of Expenditure also assesses the resources of the public sector undertakings. The Budget Division is a part of the Department of Economic Affairs. The Finance Secretary coordinates the overall budget-making process. Provident fund deposits, saving bank deposits, remittances, etc. are credited to the public account, and this account is operated by the executive action. That is, payment from this account can be made without parliamentary appropriation. Now, question number 9. Which of the following is the custodian of the Constitution of India? Option A, the President of India. Option B, the Prime Minister of India. Option C, the Lok Sabha Secretariat. Option D, the Supreme Court of India. This is a tricky question. Answer is D, Supreme Court of India. There is a dispute whether answer should be D or A, but UPSC in its official key has declared that the answer is Supreme Court. It is called the custodian of the Constitution because of its threefold functions. 1. To interpret the Constitution in such a way that the intent of the founding fathers is taken into consideration. 2. To safeguard the fundamental rights of the people of this country. 3. To protect the Constitution from any unconstitutional amendments passed by the Parliament by exercising the power of judicial review. Therefore, the Supreme Court of India is the custodian of the Constitution of India. Question number 10. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. The Legislative Council of a state in India can be larger in size than half of the legislative assembly of that particular state. Statement 2. The governor of a state nominates the chairman of legislative council of that particular state. Which of the statements given above is or correct? Option A, 1 only. Option B, 2 only. Option C, both 1 and 2. Option D, neither 1 nor 2. Answer is D, neither 1 nor 2. The maximum strength of the council is fixed at 1/3 of the total strength of the assembly, and the minimum strength is fixed at 40, with some exceptions. The chairman of the legislative council is elected by the council itself from among its members. Question number 11. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India is a provision made in the A. Preamble of the Constitution, B. Directive Principles of State Policy, C. Fundamental Rights, D. Fundamental Duties. Answer is option D. Fundamental Duties. It has been mentioned in the Article 51A of the Constitution. Question number 12. The fundamental object of Panchayat Raj system is to ensure which among the following? 1. People's participation in development. 2. Political accountability. 3. Democratic decentralization. 4. Financial mobilization. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Option A, 1, 2 and 3 only. Option B, 2 and 4 only. Option C, 1 and 3 only. Option D, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Answer is C, 1 and 3 only. Question number 13. The ideal of welfare state in the Indian Constitution is enshrined in its A. Preamble, B. Directive Principles of State Policy, C. Fundamental Rights, D. 7th Schedule. Answer is B. Directive Principles of State Policy. Directive Principles of State Policy promote the ideal of a welfare state as it guides the state in making policies for the socio-economic well-being of the people of India. Question number 14. There is a parliamentary system of government in India because Option A, Lok Sabha is elected directly by the people. Option B, Parliament can amend the Constitution. C, Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved. D, Council of Ministers is responsible to the Lok Sabha. Answer is D, Council of Ministers is responsible to the Lok Sabha. This is also a tricky question. See, in option A, can see that Lok Sabha is elected directly by the people. Option A points to a democratic system, but it does not necessarily mean a parliamentary democratic system. For example, in USA, the Congress is also elected, but it is a presidential democracy. Therefore, option D is correct because collective responsibility of the Council of Ministers to the Lok Sabha, Article 75, lies at the heart of a parliamentary democracy. Okay, thank you for listening. Please like, share and subscribe. We will meet in the next class. Thank you very much.